Will you stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For a motion to adopt the agenda?
Second. Motion carries with 7 yeses and 0 nos.
Okay, this is the time where we open the meeting up for public communication, where the public can speak on items that are not on the agenda. Madam Clerk, do we have any blue cards?
Mr. Mayor, I have 2 speaker cards. The first speaker is Bobby O'Reilly.
I didn't even know he was here.
Thank you. Good evening. Art, I want to say thank you, sir. You've done our community proud. You've done your due diligence. You've taken your time. You've explored. You've researched. You've done your homework. You haven't let anything pass by the wayside, and I want to thank you for that. I can tell you that I'm not the only one that has noticed. We thank you. Chuck, thank you. Thank you for being willing to take the seat, to run, to try. Wherever it led us, here we are. But thank you for being willing to try. In a time where this city was needing it the most, and in a time where there wasn't a whole lot of people to step up, you had the willingness to try. So for that, I say thank you. Where our city is today is not where we'd like it to be. We know that. Some things over the last 4 years are not how we'd like them to gone. We know that. Thankfully, the voter-approved Measure U put money in the funding so that we have a little cushion. And here we are. So, Chuck, I wish you good luck. Now, you may have some time to, take care of all the important personal matters that this place kept you from that you weren't able to tend to before. So, thank you. Mr. Mayor, welcome.
Mr. Mayor, our next speaker is Bill Spear.
Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Council. Mr. Mayor, I also would like to thank you again for outstanding service and leadership, and thank God for you, be able to call you my friend, and for all you've done for the city. Congratulations, Mr. Pittman, on your winning the election, and for your service also. Art, thank you, not only for your time on the city council, but as law enforcement and being the front lines in the fight. And I want to honor you tonight also. And for all our new city council members and for the ones that are leaving, I'd like to give thanks to God. Father God, we thank you for all those who serve. Jesus, you said in your word, the greatest of all shall be the servant of all. And we thank you for all those with the heart to serve. And as we start this new year, 2023, we pray your continued blessings upon our city, that you would continue to raise up your sons and daughters to lead, continue to raise up those that serve our the police and the fire and the code enforcement, the city staff, all of the people that are diligently serving. We have so many people with servant's heart in our city, and we continue to stand with them. The rescue mission, thank you for their years and years of faithfulness and service, and the Hope Center. And Father God, I am I am so excited for this next year, our new city council members, and we pray even tonight, start tonight, and continue to open up the floodgates of heaven, continue to pour out your blessings upon our city. Let us be that city on a hill, a light on a shelf. Give us that supernatural wisdom, that supernatural provision, that supernatural protection. You have done a tremendous amount in this last 4 years from where you took us to where we are now. And I have great expectations of a great God who continues to lift up, continues to be glorified. And we pray for all those here tonight that you would encourage and strengthen as we build on that solid foundation of the rock of Christ Jesus for your kingdom and your glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Mr. Mayor, that is the last of the public speakers for non-agenda items.
Looking for a motion to adopt the consent calendar.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion carries with 7 yeses and 0 nos.
Mr. Mayor, it has come to the time in our agenda that we are going to be presenting plaques to those that are leaving us tonight and installing our new council members. We'd like to begin that process with asking Mr. Hatley to please come forward, and Ms. Nevers will have a few kind words for him, and then I'll have some words for him.
Don. Okay.
So, Mr. Art Hatley has retired from the Oroville Police Department as a detective after 26 years of service. Then in retirement, Councilman Hatley served 4 terms on our city council, and 2 of which as vice mayor. He had many roles and committee assignments that developed strong code enforcement, blight removal, and a high-level public service for the citizens of Oroville. Councilmember Hatley held a leadership role in the lengthy Oroville Dam relicensing process to encourage recreational opportunities and prosperity for the citizens of Oroville. The Veterans Memorial, the Gateway Project, the skate park, Riverbend Park, and affordable housing projects are all a part of his lengthy list of accomplishments. Councilmember Hatley has strived to maintain a high quality of life for the citizens of Oroville. And for that, we are grateful for his dedication and for his leadership role over the last 42 years. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would be remiss if I didn't share some words with Mr. Hatley. One thing that most of you probably already know, but I want to share with you is that Mr. Hatley's words have iron in them. When he says something, he says what he means, and he means what he says. You never doubt where you're at. I mean, you are always there. He's been someone that has been an anchor for our city. He's been a rock. I mean, he has been someone that has consistently held to what he's believed and taken us to the places that he believed that we needed to go. Now, every day, we haven't always agreed on everything. Art has been here for decades. He's been here almost as long as I've been alive. Which is, that's a considerable amount of time from my perspective. But Art has been one of those people. He's in our community. He cares about our community. He is a few words. I mean, but I can tell you the words that, the ones that annoy me the most are how much is in that account and how much of it is already allocated. I need to know the exact amount. How much is that going to cost? I mean, so it's not that it's annoying that the question's being asked. What's being annoying is that I failed myself and didn't get the answer, even though I knew the darn question was coming. So that's it. I want to just tell Art, thank you. I appreciate you. And just as a caveat, a little asterisk on this, Art doesn't try to run the police department. Hasn't. I've been there for a long time, and Art has never come in there and told me what to do. He has come in there and asked me, what am I doing? But he has not come in there and told me what I should be doing. I mean, so, he has been somebody that I could always depend on to answer my questions, to give me that institutional knowledge that I needed to take our city forward and to take our departments forward. So with that, I appreciate you. He's a friend, he's a brother, he's somebody that I can say in front of everybody and proudly say, I love you, I care about you, I wish you nothing but happiness and success, and as you move forward, don't disappear. I mean, still be part of us. And with that, I want to give you a hug and tell you thank you.
This plaque means the world to me. I have dedicated my life to the city. My family has endured my desire to try to make it better than I found it. And now, believe it or not, I'm going to probably be able to go to the grocery store and be able to walk in and walk out with what I just want to do rather than be stopped 15 times by people. My wife always says, we can't get you to the store because you don't come home for 2 hours. But that's just part of it. And you have to be willing to do that. You have to be willing to listen to the people and take to heart what they're saying. Because when they're talking to you, they're telling you what's important to them. And if you don't listen, if you just try to say that well, it's not important to me, that doesn't cut it, not when you're in public service. You have to know and respect what those people are feeling, because that is the most important thing to them at that point in their life. So I wish the new council people the very best. Again, you're not going to get to go to the store and just walk in and walk out. So I'm kind of looking forward to that, to see what that feels like. Because I haven't been able to do that in almost 50 years. So my wife has decided that now we don't have to plan all of our vacations and family holidays and things around the city and that, because that's what we've done. And I want to thank my family most of all, because they really stood behind me and followed my dream. And that was just to make the city better. In my opinion, to make the people trust me and know that when I tell you something, I mean it. And I have always said, and Bill will attest to this, there are two things that I've always said: never lie to me, and don't steal from me. You do those two things and I'm done with you forever. So, and I've said that hundreds of times, probably thousands of times, but I appreciate it. I've made a lot of good friends and acquaintances here in the city, and I wish them all the best. And I'm going to miss getting to see them all the time, but it's time to move on. And so I thank all of you for being here. And I really thank staff and Bill for your kind words, and Don for your kind words. So I was a little bit afraid when Bill said he wanted to talk to me, because I thought he was going to say, turn around and put your hands behind your back. But that didn't happen, so I'm okay today. So with that, thank you very much, and good luck to all of you.
Mr. Mayor, it has come to that time, and if we could ask you to please come forward, and Ms. Duncan has a presentation for you, and then I also have some words for you.
It is my honor to present this plaque to you. The plaque says, Chuck Reynolds, in recognition of and appreciation of Chuck Reynolds for your dedicated service to the city of Oroville as mayor, January 19 to January 23. On behalf of staff, I'm honored to present to you this plaque to commemorate your service to the city. We want to express our gratitude for all you have done as mayor for the community. When you came on board 4 years ago, the city was in serious financial straits and had a general fund reserve of $1.5 million. We were struggling. Our current reserve will be $9 million at the end of this fiscal year. So over the last 4 years, some highlights were we have added 18 full-time positions. That's a lot. And we're still trying. We still have vacancies. We've increased our capital asset replacement and project funds by $3 million a year so that we can buy badly needed vehicles and equipment. We've completed major construction that has been completed at the Public Safety Building and the Convention Center. Pay cuts were restored, and labor negotiations have been very positive. And another big thing we accomplished was our pension liability. We refinanced $18 million and took out pension obligation bonds, and so we went from an interest rate of 7% to 3.2%. That's less than half. So this is just a short list of accomplishments achieved over the last 4 years, but the one that says the most about you is that you don't take credit for any of it. Instead, you choose to be supportive of staff and, quote, always allowed us to do our jobs. So thank you, Mayor Reynolds, for your service to the city.
Mayor Reynolds, some of the other things I'd like to highlight that's occurred is the transfer of the State Theater to Stage to a entity that can actually care for the facility and expand the uses of the facility and become an economic engine for our downtown. The cooperation and the partnership that the council has established with the YMCA, which is now in the municipal auditorium, which has been restored in a great part to the condition that it should have been in all along, but it had slipped into a dilapidated state, and the council has put over $1.5 million into that facility, so it's looking very nice. The public safety facility, it was in bad shape to begin with, but then somebody drove through the front of it. So that took a bad situation and made it worse. It did expand our parking, but we really don't care for it in the lobby. So all of that, being said, nothing in government is easy or simple. I mean, if there's a way to convolute something and create a bureaucracy, we know how to do it. And any of those accomplishments are all difficult to do. But under the leadership of Mayor Reynolds, those things have been accomplished. One thing I can tell you about this man is that he is resolute in what he believes. Whatever he believes, he goes with, and that's what he sticks with. He is very consistent in that. It isn't anything where you're going to get one thing on Monday, another thing on Tuesday, and a third thing on Wednesday. Whatever it was Monday will also be what it is on Friday. He has dedicated many, many hours to our city, and more than I've ever seen anyone in an elected capacity do, which is good and bad. I mean, sometimes, I'm a little bit of an introvert, believe it or not, at times, and I like being alone. He didn't leave me alone. But that's okay. I mean, because that's his style of leadership. He was there. He was a hands-on kind of a guy. For that, I appreciate it. I appreciate the fact that he is resolute. I mean, it made it easier for me to do my job because I knew exactly what was coming from what the mayor would like. The council has done an amazing job over the last 4 years when they took over the city for their role in leadership. We were in dire financial straits. Thank goodness Measure U was approved, and those monies have been coming in, and they've been purposed for various projects throughout the city. The workforce has been restored and is still being restored. Much needed equipment is being purchased. We had many, many outdated things. One of our trucks that we had our public works people working in, they literally had to keep their feet up off the floor because there was a hole in it where you could see through the ground or through the floor onto the ground. I mean, that's how bad some of our equipment was. Those things have been replaced and restored, and we're still working toward doing all of that. We do have a very robust reserve at this point, and we are working diligently to continue that. The bond restructuring, which I know is a very boring topic and most folks don't want to talk about, but when you're talking about $18 million and you're talking cutting your interest rate in half, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars each year that actually saves and returns to our general fund. So that is, was a huge thing for our community. So with that, Chuck, I want to say thank you. I appreciate you. I think that you've done what you said you wanted to do. You said, you've told me many times, all I want to do is a good job. I believe that you have put everything into that. You've done everything that you could to do a good job, and we have benefited from those results. The council has worked amazingly together. You guys have vigorously debated various topics from opposing viewpoints. However, we have always seemed to come to a resolution to those things. And if you go back and you look, and people may say that we're divided, divisive, and all of those things, contentious. We have more 7-0 votes than we did not. Where this council agreed and this council moved forward on projects. So for that, I appreciate vigorous debate, because I don't know everything. I'm not right about everything. Neither is any other person sitting in this room. When we all come together, we discuss that, we debate it, we find a way to compromise, negotiate, and work our way through that while sticking true to what our core values are. That's when we come up to the best possible resolution. And I think you've done a good job. So thank you. I appreciate you. I also love you and care about you.
Well, you're right, Bill. That's all I ever said was anyone wants to know my motivation, I just want to do a good job. And I think we have. I don't think that leadership is a title or an office or the ability to be in charge. I think it's the ability to recognize the responsibility to bring the best out of those around you. And I think we did that here. We've had some battles, but we've also celebrated some really good moments. There are some really, really good people at this city. The hardest thing for me for the job was listening to people say things that weren't true, that you had to listen to and couldn't say anything back. I can say something back now if I want to. I'm so happy. But I just want to say that the people that make up this city, they put their hearts and souls in it. And I'm a production guy. Everybody knew that coming in. I want production. I want to see progress. I don't want to sit here and wonder what happened. So I'm thankful for, I'm really thankful for Bill. Bill and I were on different sides of the society, I guess, when I came in. I knew Bill and he knew me, but we didn't know each other well. But we got to know each other well. And I have a lot of respect for this man. He is so dedicated to this city. And people need to see his value, because I'm telling you, he is the nuts and bolts that pulled this thing together. He is very, very intelligent, and I was honored to learn from him. Him and I, we were in each other's face sometimes, and you were seeing us hug and tell each other we loved each other several times as well. That is respect for a peer who you share passionate motives and debates with. This is someone that I respect, and there are many others that I respect. I'm telling you, there's just amazing people here that are so dedicated to their jobs, and just honored to be a part of them. This will be the first time in 50 years that someone with the last name of Reynolds is not serving the public in the city of Oroville. So I don't worry about me. I'm strangely at peace. I really am. I'm looking forward to some of them grocery store trips. Or my wife said, I'm going to quit going to the grocery store. It's funny. But I want to thank my family too, because they were so amazing, absolutely amazing. You know, 4 years ago, my youngest daughter was 13. My son was 17. He was my campaign manager. Absolutely amazing. That kid is, well, not a kid anymore, 22 years old, serving the United States Navy. Been in San Diego for 3.5 years, and he just deployed to Hawaii, and we're all trying to feel really bad about that. But just absolutely amazing, genuine people, my family. And my daughter, my youngest daughter, Livy, was 13 when I took this office. And the contentious atmosphere that was going on in this town was downright violent. And they suffered the most, but they served right along beside me. Even though we had to take her out of school and homeschool her, she graduated high school a year early and has been in college for over a year, and she's only 17 years old. So I just want to thank them. They're just amazing people, and they are my rocks, my salvation, always looking out for me. And I'm honored to be part of them. So with that, we need to get these guys sworn in. I think you have an amazing council elected, and I think that they're going to do a great job. The foundation is strong. There is a good thing here. I'm wishing all of you not just luck, but Godspeed. Let God be with you. Absolutely, because it doesn't really matter to me how some might feel, how some don't. We know what the foundation of the success is. Yeah. And I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to Pastor Spears for dedicating. He was here long before I was. Pastor Malone, here long before I was. I was looking at some of the old videos. I'm going, holy cow, these guys were here a long time before I got here. God bless you. Just so dedicated. And not looking for anything other than for your community to be someplace you want to raise your kids. So, you know what? It's an honor, absolute honor. So I want to say thank you to everyone for this. It's been great, and I'll see you out there, okay? Thank you.
I think we should start with the mayor, get him done, then he can assume the role, and we'll kind of go from there. I am going to make one quick announcement about Carolyn first.
One word of advice for the new council members: speak to your attorney on a regular basis.
We're now going to move into the part of the agenda where we swear in our new council members. We'll begin that with our incoming mayor, Mr. David Pittman. Prior to that, I'd like just to announce to the community that Carolyn Fairbanks will not be with us here tonight. Due to health-related issues, Carolyn will not be here. Carolyn was sworn in earlier today to assume the office of treasurer for, I believe, the 5th time, somewhere in that area. So she is doing well, I believe. I mean, but she is just unable to be with us tonight. But that piece of business of the swearing in has been conducted and taken care of. With that, at the request of Mr. Mayor Pittman, he has asked that Annie Terry begin this process by leading us in a prayer.
Oh, wow.
I kind of thought this was cool that everybody was looking at the audience. I think this is kind of nice. Shall we pray? As we commence the scheduled meetings of the Oroville City Council for the year 2023, we as the citizenry pause to invoke your blessings, Lord, on the newly elected mayor and each council member represented, both incumbent and newly elected. Let us strive to be of one mind and act in one accord in the business of conducting the business of our city. As the Apostle Paul in the first century wrote to the church at Ephesus, may any bitterness, wrath, anger, clamor, or evil speaking be put away, along with all malice. Holy Lord, just as your scripture admonishes believers to be exemplary, may this council be an example to municipalities of how matters of civil business ought to be conducted. Bless these council chambers from the dais to the door and from the fireside room to the parking lot. May the city council work collectively as a well-oiled machine. Anoint the community of Oroville with your blessings. In the name of your most holy Son, Jesus. Amen.
Thank you.
Good evening. If you would like to speak into that mic, and I will speak into this one. If you would go ahead and raise your hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, David Pittman,
Do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California.
that I take this obligation freely
I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion.
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter
the duties upon which I am about to enter
for the city of Oroville.
for the city of Oroville.
Welcome, and on behalf of the staff here, we look forward to working with you in your new role.
Well, thank you, Jackie. If I'd like to say thank you to all of you that are here tonight. I think some of you have never been in this chamber. But to let you know, this is where the business of the city is conducted. So please return your visits. We look forward to having you here. I want to thank all my supporters in the election. I had so many volunteers, both adults, and what really was proud is I had a lot of kids and a lot of youth helping hitting the streets and walking, and I think they'll be part of the future political process that we have in the future. Real quick, I have to do something here on a personal nature. Would the Pittman crew please rise real quick to know who we are here? My grandsons, my son and my daughter-in-law, my granddaughter, my daughter Carrie, granddaughter Emma, Paige, and then my sister Mary.
Next, if we could have Tracy Johnstone up here.
You'll have to move.
Same thing. If you could go ahead and raise your hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Tracy Johnstone,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support and defend the Constitution
that I will support and affirm the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and that I take this obligation freely
and that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter
the duties upon which I am about to enter
for the City of Oroville.
for the City of Oroville.
Welcome, and again, on behalf of the staff, we are excited to get to know you and to work with you over the next several years.
Thank you so much. I just want to say thank you so much for everyone that supported me in this election process. I'm truly honored and grateful that you've given me this opportunity. Can my children stand and my grandchildren stand? This is the future. And I just wanted them, most of them, this is the first time that they've seen the inside of city chambers, council chambers as well. So I just wanted them to know that the struggles and the just all the great things that happen start here in the city of Oroville. And I'm just really honored to have you all here supporting me. Thank you. God bless.
If I could have Eric Smith. Kind of. If you could go ahead and raise your hand and repeat after me. I state your name,
I, Eric Smith,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support and defend
and that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter
the duties upon which I'm about to enter
for the City of Oroville.
for the City of Oroville.
Welcome, and on behalf of the staff here, we look forward to working with you for another 4 years in office.
Thank you. I'd like my family as well to stand, my wife and my son Jonathan. They too have to endure the protracted times at the grocery store and other places. Of course, some have had a little more experience at that. Councilman, well, it's just begun. So get ready, buckle your seatbelt, and Mr. Weber as well. But it's an honor again to have the opportunity to serve another 4 years the city here of Oroville, and I'm just so looking forward to seeing all the great things that are coming. I think that we've had a great ground laid, and just all the work that has already been attributed and discussed here at some length, and to be a part of, again, continuing the momentum and building upon the great things. And I just count it a privilege to serve my community and to be a part of that. Thank you.
And Sean Weber, if I could have you join me up here. And lastly, if I could have you raise your hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Sean Weber,
Do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservations
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter
the duties on which I'm about to enter
for the city of Oroville.
for the city of Oroville.
Welcome, and we are excited to get to know you over the next 4 years and to work together with you.
Thank you. Never thought in a million years I would be standing right here, but here we are. And I'm so honored, and this has truly been one of the most interesting experiences of my entire life, to be stretched in this manner and humbling. And I too want to give, I want to pay honor to my children. Would my children please stand up? Another living legacy right here. These are wonderful, beautiful children, and I'm so blessed to be your father and to know who you are. Each and every one of you are wonderful, beautiful people that are, you guys are the future. You're the difference makers. You're the game changers. And I'm so grateful and thankful for who you are as people, and I'm so proud and blessed to be your daddy. And I'm just so thankful for you. Thank you for that. For my bride, 25 years ago, we set off on an adventure together. And I asked you if you were willing to follow. I said, would you be my pioneer woman as we set across on this grand adventure? And I told you that big old giant diatribe and talked on and on and on. And when he got done, you looked at me and said, you had me at pioneer woman, let's go. Well, 25 years later, here we are. And you've rode with me through every kind of an imaginable scenario and circumstance, and you've been right there. You are my wise counsel. You are my fearless defender. You are my biggest cheerleader. You are my best friend. You're the love of my life. And I'm so thankful and grateful for where we are today. And I love you so much, and thank you for supporting me through this. When the opportunity arose to run, we all had dinner, and I asked my kids, I said, I want to give you an opportunity to say no to my bride as well. And over the course of dinner that night, to a person, every single one of them said, Dad, I think you're supposed to do this. I'm so thankful for where I came from and where I am today. And I look forward to the future of this city, and I look forward to serving you, everybody in this room, anybody that's in District F, and the city as a whole. I don't know what else to say. I'm just so honored and thankful. And I want to honor Natalie. You were, like you said a minute ago, you were a worthy opponent. You fought hard. And I'm gonna and I thank you for that. I thank you for your dedication to the city, and I thank you for your heart. And I think that you are a wonderful asset to the city, and I think you're going to do great things in the city as well. So thank you very much. That's all I have.
Mr. Mayor, that is everyone that we need to get seated. I just want to take a minute, if I can, and tell each of you thank you. I appreciate the opportunity that we have to work for you, the opportunities that we have been given in the city, the opportunities that I've personally been given. I'm going to challenge each one of you to remember why we're here, what we're here for, what we're doing, and remember this is who we represent. I mean, this is where our authority, our power, everything that we have, it comes from this community. So when times get tough and they become contentious and we are tempted to lash out at one another, let's remember our families. I mean, because there is more to it than just what you do up here. You have a very difficult task, job ahead of you. It's oftentimes thankless. I mean, I know you put in many, many hours and you work very hard to accomplish the goals of the city. So I want to thank you in advance for that. I also want to take the opportunity to thank your families. I mean, because we all know council meetings, hour, 2, maybe 3, but they go on for 4, 5, 6 hours with the after council meeting conversations that go on in our homes with our significant others, oftentimes what they don't want to hear about. But we feel the need to and compelled to share that with them. So thank you for that. Thank you for all you do. I mean this heartfeltly. I know how difficult this is. I know how difficult it is for your families. Thank you.
Well, again, thank you all for being here. Please take the pictures. This is your Oroville City Council 2023. As soon as your pictures are done, we're going to take a 5-minute recess. And please get a chance to get around and talk with each other. There are cookies in the side room right to the left as you go out through the door. And we don't want to leave any here, so make sure you grab some, all right? So we're in 5-minute recess.
40 or 50. Just take the platter and walk away.
I doubt this is.
You're about to lose your mom. Hang on to this one.
Yep. I'm glad I have you. There you go. Okay. Amen. Love you too.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. Congratulations, my dear. I know it's going to be really proud.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Well, it's gonna get cold in here now.
What's that?
It's cold in here. That's the first time I've heard people say anything. Pittman started and they just went with it. Say anything. Hey, how are you? And Happy New Year to you too. Are you staying? Oh yeah, we don't want to miss the first. I thought it went very well. All right. You too. Tell Stephanie hello. Have an excellent year. I have an issue with you not inviting me to take a tour. Or, well, but always come every once in a while and he'd say, look what we've done here and look what, and we're overcrowded here and we're overcrowded here. And, okay, so. Absolutely.
And so whatever's going on there.
Absolutely. I mean, bus came and dropped off us. I mean, there's so many more homeless, and I see it every day because.
Oh, you pulled that one out. You got it. You got it. Yeah, well, you pulled that one out. Yeah, we gotta leave that one. My day's coming. I gotta get this stuff out. I gotta stare. It's late.
Yeah, we do. We were just told it was like there was a busload and they just. He said, I said, what about just house them in the warming center? They're at 20-something, they're already there. Yeah, you were there. What Facebook? His Facebook? I'm not on your Facebook. That's just what we do. Yeah. All right. Okay. Hey. Bobby was tired. He probably came from where he works. He was in uniform. Yeah. He just wasn't. Yeah. But you gotta have a friend. Want to leave any. Really tired. I was impressed by everything, what everybody said. Okay, let me look at the agenda. Make sure there's no changes.
Road? I got it over here somewhere.
Because we still have closed session.
Yes.
My daughter, Carrie.
Yeah.
She sent me a text message.
She picked up on that.
Thanks, sir.
She
Bless
picked
you.
up on that quick. So good to see you too. I talked to your friend this morning, Pastor Legato. You know,
Let's try to get back together, folks, if we can.
We all pray together on Tuesday mornings. Yeah, so we were talking. Yeah.
Thank you all. We're going to get back to the agenda for the evening. Item number, and we want to thank you all for coming again. And it was very nice to see you all here, supporters and family and Again, don't make this building a one-time occurrence. We appreciate you coming back and visiting us again and again and again. That's the only way this city gets going right. So appreciate your time and effort being here. Item number 3 is the meeting calendar for 2023.
Mr. Mayor, this is a kind of a straightforward item. This is the opportunity for the council to determine if there's any dates on the calendar that is in conflict or they would like to change. It's also a time that if the council wants to visit the meeting times for the council, you can do that as well.
Any comments from council? Oh, yeah, Mr. Thompson, thank you.
Yeah. So I've already talked to staff about this, but in February, both those dates are no good for me. One of them being Washington, D.C., and that is a scheduled date I cannot miss. And the other one is a trip to Idaho that I also can't miss. So it's both dates in February. So if we can move one of those, I can possibly do Zoom in Washington, D.C., but I definitely cannot do Zoom in the back mountains of Idaho where there is no cell reception.
Question, are you referring to the council regular meeting dates?
Yes, the 7th and the 21st.
Okay.
I think, Mr. Mayor, we're required to have a meeting on the first Tuesday of the month, but the other one I think is flexible. It can be moved. We can move it to the 14th, which I know is probably going to be an inconvenient day in February. But I think the next one available date would be the 28th. But if we do it on the 28th, let's just keep in mind that's going to put us almost in back-to-back weeks with council meetings for the first one in March. So it's staff can do that, can turn that around for you, but that would be the potential solution is to change it to the 28th.
Any suggestions from council?
Well, I'm fine to do the
flexible.
Zoom for the 7th, but it's not an option for me for the 21st. So if the council is fine with me just not being present for the 21st, then it just is what it is. But I can't move either of those dates.
And Mr. Turney, are we okay with him zooming in as a participant?
Yeah, I was actually just going to say, as of January 1, there are some new regulations regarding the Brown Act. There were some amendments that make it actually easier to participate remotely. I've got someone preparing a memo so I can give it to all of you to inform you all about it, but I'm just going to really give you the Reader's Digest version. It makes it so that you can participate remotely without having to post an agenda on a hotel door or at your home or at some other far-flung location. So it makes it really easy.
And if just so I understand correctly, Mr. Vice Mayor, is that you can Zoom on the 7th, and the 21st due to your location, Zoom is not possible.
You couldn't even call me on the 21st.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Any other comments from council? Then I guess by consensus, we'll.
Mr. Mayor, I do have one public speaker on this
Oh,
item.
yes, thank you.
Bobby O'Reilly.
Thank you. Pleasure to be in front of the new council. Mr. Mayor, congratulations to all and welcome into the decision-making of the city. Regarding the times for the council meetings, this has been a contentious issue. It has been back and forth. It has been thrown up, thrown down. And what I personally ask is that you make it available or easy for most, right? We've gone from 4 o'clock meetings, 4 o'clock p.m. to 6:30 p.m. meetings, and we've gone back to 5 o'clock meetings, and then we've gone to 3:30 p.m. meetings. Most working folks can't make those. Yes, we can watch via Zoom, but if we have something that is, as was stated here earlier this evening, the things that we come to speak to you about are the things that are affecting us the most at that moment. They're the things that we're the most passionate about at that moment. And if we don't have the ability to come tell you about those things, then your job's really null and void. So with that, I would ask that maybe you guys explore a new time for the council meetings. I also would like to take this time, as I have done every council meeting since I started paying attention to the politics in the city of Oroville, to let you know that there are those of us out here who are watchdogs of the community. We are here. We are loud. We're going to be watching you. We're going to be rooting for you. just please, please, please do the business of the city in the best interest of the city, as that's not always the case that has been done. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, that is the only public speaker for this item.
Thank you. And again, I'll ask Councilman Riggs.
Thank you. One concern that Mr. O'Reilly brought up was meeting time, in that we have public comment at the start of the meeting as well, which would possibly or likely conflict with most people's schedule if they worked a traditional job. Is it possible to, or have we ever in the past explored looking at doing public comment at the end of the meeting?
It is the council's prerogative. If you choose to reorder the meeting, public comment could be moved to the end of the meeting. For many years, it was there, and then it was moved to the front.
Just a thought, since somebody coming would likely want to speak, if they have a non-agenda item, would want to speak, and that should be later in the evening possibly. But then it's also a variable time, so you've got bad ways both ways. So.
And the rationale for why it was moved originally from the back of the meeting to the front of the meeting is oftentimes people will come to comment on things that are not on the agenda, because that's why it's a non-agenda item comment session, and they have to sit through the entire meeting in order to make those comments. So
Yeah,
that's
true.
why it was moved to the front as opposed to the back.
Good point. We don't want to do that.
I have seen, just, forgive me for interrupting, I've seen some public agencies that will have public comment at the front, and then they'll also offer it at the end for anyone who didn't get a chance to at the beginning. Now you've sort of bookended it. It does give you, extra, I'll say it extends the meeting for anybody who wants to make some additional comments that didn't get a chance originally. I don't, my experience, and again, your mileage may vary, my experience is that it doesn't really extend the meeting. People really don't abuse it. It's obviously for people who, you don't get to have both. You can't, talk at the beginning and then talk at the end. You just get one or the other. So, like I said, your mileage may vary. You may not want to do that, but that's an option too.
Personally, I kind of like that option, because then we cover the bases on both sides of the discussion. So I kind of like that option, as the rest of the council feel. Yeah?
Mr. Mayor, I believe to be a consensus of councils with
Yeah.
positive
That's a
head
good idea.
shake. So we will
Good
add
idea.
that as
Right.
a second public comment session.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate the input. Item number 4, appointment of vice mayor for 2023.
Mr. Mayor, if we could get a first, a second, and a vote on the adoption of the calendar.
Excuse me.
I move that we adopt the meeting calendar for the year 2023, and along with the recommendation to have both public comments at the beginning of each meeting and at the end as well.
I'll second.
Motion carries with 7 yeses and 0 nos.
Thank you, Jackie. All right, item number 4, appointment of vice mayor for 2023. The council will select a vice mayor for the Oroville City Council for 2023. Do you have any nominations? Lacking that, I will nominate Janet Goodson for vice mayor. Mr. Weber?
Yes, I would like to make a second motion for Eric Smith to be vice mayor.
I'll second the motion from Weber.
Yeah, I was going to say, as a de facto parliamentarian, I'll sort of take on that role.
Yeah.
You do need to have, you can have up to 3 motions at any one time. However, they do, to be a live motion, have to have a second. So I did hear a second for the motion by Councilmember Weber. Is there a second for the motion by Mayor Pittman?
I'll make that second.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to take over your
No,
job.
go
Are there
ahead.
any other,
Please do.
again, you can have up to 3 motions on the table, so you've got 2 motions now. The Rosenberg's Rules of Order, which have been adopted by the council, the last motion made is the first one to be voted on. If that motion fails, then you go to the first motion that was made and vote on it. If that motion fails, then you can open it up for additional motions. If the first motion passes, then there's no further vote. Then the second motion dies because the first motion dies because the second motion
Is passed.
would have passed. Does
Right.
that make sense? So
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, we do have one public speaker on this item. Bill Spear.
Vice Mayor, for a little while. I think Eric Smith would be a tremendous vice mayor. And I believe that Councilwoman Goodson has disqualified herself from consideration because of her involvement as administrator of the Oroville Concerned Citizen political Facebook page. She was administrator in her official capacity, Janet Goodson, Oroville City Council member. In October, I was invited into the page. I was on the page for less than a day before I got blocked. As a city official, you're not supposed to block private citizens, not only me, but a whole bunch of other citizens. Also, I read some of the derogatory comments that were made about sitting council members and people who were candidates who were running that I feel were really inappropriate. I think that it did help your campaign win, but the way that it happened, I think, was improper, and I think that it would be highly inappropriate to award that kind of behavior with the position. Also, in addition to that, I think part of the cure of the offense, because it was an offense for a lot of the citizens of Oroville, I would ask for a public apology and as part of the cure. And thank you for your time.
Do we have any other public comments?
Mr. Mayor, that is the only public comment for this item.
Okay. Do we have a third motion, or are we ready to vote? So then we'll call the motion to the second motion, which was
The second motion by Mr. Weber, or by Councilmember Weber, would be voted on first, which was a motion for Eric Smith, and it was seconded by
Thompson.
Councilmember Thompson.
Okay. So we'll call the vote.
Motion carries with 5 yeses and 2 nos.
All right. Well, welcome, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Thank you.
Eric Smith, thank you. Ms. Goodson.
Yes, I just wanted to say that your information is inaccurate, and I'm more than happy to speak with you at any time that you are available. Thank you.
Okay, next item is number 5, the airport tenant agreement with Genco Aviation at the Oroville Municipal Airport to provide fixed base operator FBO services. Dawn, you have the staff report. Thank you.
Yes, good evening, Mayor Pittman and council members. This is a request to consider authorizing the mayor to execute an airport tenant agreement with Jennifer Anderson, doing business as Genco Aviation, for the lease of a 5-year period for the fixed base operator building, the monthly stipend from income of the hangars for G&H, the tie downs, and the fuel flowage fee. The former fixed-base operator, Amaral Aviation, soon submitted requests to cancel his lease shortly after signing the document. Since the time the FBO was vacated, 2 RFPs have been published with no qualified respondents. Then, on November 23rd, staff published another RFP, receiving response from Jennifer Anderson. Following several meetings with Ms. Anderson, she has proven determined and qualified to operate the FBO. Ms. Anderson's proposal also outlined expanded operations for service for the FBO. Ms. Anderson currently works for Jones Flying Service as a roto and fixed-wing mechanic, ground crew, and crop dusting pilot. She is a duly rated third-generation pilot behind her father and grandfather, the founder of Jones Flying Service. Having over 11 years of experience in the aviation and aviation maintenance field, she has long desired to operate an FBO herself. She wants this FBO to have a pilot-oriented professional culture as well as a family-friendly culture. For the operations, Ms. Anderson will operate the FBO 6 days per week and have a dedicated employee at the front desk to greet guests. She has already coordinated for a flight instructor and will have an on-call fixed-wing mechanic available to the current tenants and the aviation community. Ms. Anderson will pay $725 a month for the lease of the FBO building. This is the same amount that Mr. Amaral paid when we had the lease in operation with him. And this rate will be adjusted annually for the CPI index as we review her profit and loss statement. And like Amaral Aviation, Genco Aviation is a startup business. And so the monthly stipend from the hangars G&H will help to guide her through her years through that startup business. And again, we will evaluate her annual profit and loss and adjust that accordingly. But again, her success is our success. In 2020, the city purchased a Jet A fuel truck that will be operated by Genco Aviation for the FBO. And Genco Aviation will be providing a higher level of service that will be using a portion of the increase for the marketing for the Jet A fuel sales. And that will provide that added service to the aviation community. Currently, we don't offer the full service Jet A fuel sales. The city will be responsible for the maintenance of that fuel truck, however. So for the fiscal impact, the monthly FBO rental payment will be the $725 per month for an annual $8,700. And again, that will be adjusted. And then the hangar rent and the monthly stipend for Genco Aviation will be $3,490 per month. And staff's recommendation at this point would be adopting Resolution 9120 and Agreement 3440, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute the airport tenant agreement with Genco Aviation to operate the fixed base operator. And we also have Ms. Anderson here this evening to answer any questions you may have.
Do we hear anyone from the public on this item?
Mr. Mayor, I do not have any public speakers on this item.
All right. Councilman Johnstone.
That's okay.
Yeah.
There we go. Thank you. I just wanted to know if there were any other applicants for the FBO position?
We only received one application for this RFP round.
And how long was the request out there for?
This request was flown for 2 weeks with a mandatory site walk, and so we only had the one respondent attend the site walk.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman or Vice Mayor Smith.
Yes. Miss Anderson, anyone that can stick a Huey helicopter at the convention center parking lot. Woo! Yeah, good job. You have my vote for sure. Now, we really appreciate, your dedication, which already was just, I think, demonstrated in that show at the Veterans Day Parade. And next year, I understand we're going to maybe get to be able to have that chopper come down Main Street, maybe? So, because now you're going to have a little tighter relationship with the city, assuming that this gets an affirmative vote. But I just wanted to say thank you and to acknowledge the fact that you were the pilot of that Huey coming in and landing there at the Convention Center parking lot on Veterans Day and allowing the public to be able to go up and see an amazing piece of history. So I just want to say thank you for that and already demonstrating your commitment to our city and just to the quality of life. Not every city has a Huey sitting in their parking lot, so thank you. I also want to mention and ask, while I'm sharing here, I received a letter from the EAA and from Pee-wee regarding the request of in discussion with council to potentially have a resolution granting owners of aircraft of historical significance display days. So at a future time, we can bring this back. So I'm kind of double-ending here, talking about two different things, but also it would have some impacts with this new relationship. And I don't know, maybe you'd have an opportunity to speak to that, because we do have events out there with the 4th of July, which is huge here in Oroville, of course, with the fly-in. And maybe it would be appropriate just to have you share kind of your ideas about how to move forward and market our airport, and with all the great stuff and the involvement with other groups and organizations, and how you kind of see yourself fitting in with that.
Well, the fly-ins are huge. Those are big ones to just bring different people. And then if we did, my flight instructor is a female also, so she is really involved in like the women in aviation and whatnot. And if we could do, things that aren't just for people who fly airplanes, like maybe get the general public more involved in aviation and like teach them about it and see, kind of spark more interest in people wanting to be involved in that stuff in general. So the fly-ins are huge, and if Pee Wee can, coordinate and do some of those things to help us, I think you have to sign up kind of to do a display day, just do, it's not a lot, but it helps them tax-wise, so they like doing them. But, I'm open to suggestions too from, the people at the airport, and I'm new to this, so it's, just trying to make the best about everything.
And I know our mayor also, with the Rotary Club and the firework display, so there's a lot of interaction with some of us on the dais here as well. So, but the airport's very important, I think, too, of the
No, it's a
future of
very
our city.
unutilized resource we have here, so I'm excited to do something with it.
And we're excited to have you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Mr.
Oh,
Vice
Jennifer, don't leave, come back.
Don't leave.
Councilman Weber, do you have
Yeah, thank you. I was,
Sean, your mic.
is this?
Councilperson Weber, your
Your
mic.
Sorry. Thank you.
Who needs it?
If I understand this correctly, this is going to be like a pilot's lounge
Yes.
type.
Well, so I will be operating a maintenance business there, but
Sure.
the lounge will be open again like it used to be for
Right.
people who come in, especially get the bigger jets that come for, the businesses and the casinos and stuff. So now there's pilots while they're waiting. They don't have to just sit outside in the parking lot like they do now. They can actually come inside, and we'll have, I'm not sure how serious we'll get with, little amenities and things like that, but it'll be a much more comfortable experience for them. And
Sure, yeah, because that I actually heard that complaint.
And then fuel sales will be awesome, because we will be capable of fueling those jets that come in rather than them having to leave our facility and go somewhere else and get fuel.
Sure,
So,
makes sense.
Yeah.
So would this facility be offering food services in the future? Or?
not in the lease, it says we aren't supposed to have like a restaurant, but any pre-made type things,
Sure.
snacks, vending machines, things of that nature, but nothing super serious. Because we do have the golf course right across the way, which we could maybe coordinate something with them for, if somebody wanted food, we could run over and get it for them, or, there's lots of ways we could expand on all these things, so.
Yeah, well, maybe as a possible stream of revenue later on, because I know there's a lot of industry right around there. I don't know how
Right.
accessible it would be to like the lineman college perhaps or something like that.
No, we've thrown around an idea of having like a little coffee thing
Sure.
there, so, just something simple for like the guys at the lineman college, they come to school in the morning, walk over and get some
Sure.
coffee, and it's could be a different stream of revenue rather than just aviation based, so there's a lot of opportunities out there.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Very exciting.
yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Councilman Johnstone?
No, we got all kinds of.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm excited too. I would just like to know if you have any ideas as far as garnering interest with the youth.
Yes, so that was one of the things I was talking about. And we don't, not just women in aviation, that's just, my friend is very involved with them, so that was one of the things. But, if we, I don't know how field trips work, but, get kids involved and have, I can bring over the plane that I fly for crop dusting and the helicopters and stuff, and just bring younger people out so that they can get to see it, and bring other pilots in and stuff so they can walk around and talk to different people that do different things. Because my friend wants to be an airline pilot, and she's in the process of doing all that. She's a flight instructor, but then I'm a crop duster. And what we do is so far apart, it's crazy, but we're both pilots. We both want to be professional pilots. So it'd be neat to get a bunch of different people with different backgrounds in aviation to talk to younger people and do stuff like that. So that's definitely something we're interested in doing.
Yeah, create an interest
Yeah.
with our youth and maybe
Yeah.
even the mechanics of it and,
Yeah.
not just the flight, but maybe.
No, exactly, and that's, I'm a
maintenance and
helicopter mechanic,
mechanics and those
so-
kind of things. Great, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other councilman? Jennifer, I met you on the phone, and I also know you're kind of homegrown because you learned to fly at the Oroville Airport, so.
I did.
This is really nice to see that you come forward, and I want to say something to the rest of the audience. When mentioned the RFPs, that's a request for proposal. We get in so much in the synonym words that that's a request for proposal. So we went out many times, and we thank you for your proposal. And I'm very encouraged to see you participate and offer your services. So with that, I'd entertain a motion from a council.
I move that we accept the tentative agreement with Genco Aviation at the Oroville Municipal Airport to provide fixed-based operations FBO services.
I second that.
Call the vote.
Motion carries with 7 yeses and 0 nos.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Mr. Mayor, we'll follow up on the display days. We'll bring that
Oh, yeah.
back to council. I'm not sure if it has to be a council item, but we will bring back some resolution to that
Sure.
for you.
It works. Thank you. And again, thank you for the interest in the airport.
Council members, just so the record is clear, I was reviewing this agreement just now that's in the packet. There is one change I did, and we don't have to make a revote.
Right.
I just wanted to call out your attention. One of the issues in section 3.07, it says utilities, it says lessee will pay the utilities. One of the problems we have at the airport is there's one meter that controls the FBO, the lights for the runway, for all the other things. The tenant is not going to be paying the utilities. The city will be paying the utilities. But I wanted to just make that clear.
Thank you.
Because that was one of the issues that we had before. It's not really fair to saddle the fixed-based operator with all of the lights for the runways and taxiways and all of the lights for the
Street lights, parking lots.
street lights, all those, not really streets, but
Right.
the ramp lights and all that. It's really not fair to saddle them with all of those expenses. There isn't a good way to separate just the FBO right now.
Right.
So I just wanted to highlight that because if anyone asks in the future, hey, wait a minute, why aren't they paying that? That yellow highlight was supposed to be removed.
Yeah.
So sorry about that.
Thank you. Appreciate that clarification. All right, so we're done with item 5. And item number 6, council appointments to committees, commissions, and boards.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just provide you just a piece of information. I have been contacted by at least 2 council members that are requesting that we table this item. They would like to see what the committees are, provide you input so that you can,
Right.
and make sure that they can attend those meetings if they're available at those times. So they're requesting to do that. I have prepared some documents that have what the meetings are, where they're at, what time, and who is currently assigned to what. If it is your pleasure, if you would like to do that, I can distribute those. We'll compile the information and bring it back at the next council meeting so you can make those appointments.
Oh, and I totally agree with that. We want to get the ball rolling. I do have some tentative appointments, and I'll pass those out so that the council members can look at those. There's also one additional committee that I would like to put in place, and it's going to be called the Quality of Life Committee. It would have 3 members. It would be a standing committee, and it would be an opportunity for the public to come before this, a committee of the council to tell and air their problems on a more conversational basis versus a council agenda time. And I have 3 people in mind for serving on that committee, and I'll pass this out for the rest of the council to review. And then if you have any ideas or suggestions or cannot make any of the meetings, please let me know, and then we can move it forward. So I'll pass these out. And like I said, this Quality of Life Committee is a new idea. I've seen some other cities do it. It would be a standing committee once a month where you, the public, can come here and tell your entire program or your problem or your concern or whatever it may be, so that, we can get it recorded and registered. Because all of us as council members get a phone call, or we go to the grocery store, and that's a one item, input received, but then how do you deliver that input? Where do you put it? This committee would be a place that the city would actually record that input, so that we can actually look at the solutions to the future by having those informations brought to us and then recorded in a meeting. So that's the one committee that's a little different than we've had before in the past. So I'll pass these out, and we'll have it on the next agenda if you would. Thank you. All right, item number 7, priority goal setting workshop. This was something was talked about in the campaigns, both on my side and other sides. I'm looking at suggestions from this body as to how you'd like to do a goal-setting workshop. And there's a couple, 3 or 4 different suggestions, whether it be a regular council meeting or a special council meeting, or if we should have a professional facilitator. I'm open to those, so I'm looking for suggestions from council. Councilman Smith, or excuse me, Vice Mayor Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, just in, reviewing this, I think we should put this off for a little while until we have such time found an administrator. Because I really, not knowing that skill set that individual is going to bring, I think that position is so pivotal and key, and they can really drive, if we then at that point feel that need, and as that person is able to evaluate the staff and the departments and then come to us, and then from there, I think we can more evolve into something of this nature. But I think we're getting the cart a little bit before the horse. I'm not against the concept at all, but I think that it would be better served with that individual in place, and then being the facilitator of something of that nature. That's my opinion on this particular item.
Oh, I appreciate that. Anyone else? Councilman Riggs.
Member.
Excuse me.
Thank you, Mayor Pittman. I do agree with Vice Mayor Smith. Gosh, this is hard. I do agree with Vice Mayor Smith in that it may be a cart before the horse, but I do think that we could start the community input process for it, which could be really beneficial in allowing a new administrator to start with a really clear, defined path forward of course, that new administrator will also bring things forward that aren't on our radar, but they being able to step into a role and really know what the desires of this council are and what the priorities and of the council and of the community could also be a real benefit. So I think that it's goal setting is something that we shouldn't talk about annually, but should talk about regularly, even as frequently as on a quarterly basis. And so I would feel comfortable moving forward with receiving community input and starting to prioritize some items so that a new administrator can enter into our organization with a path forward.
May I ask a question about that? Are you referring to, like, say, having a community-wide survey or a return survey or some kind of survey to start the process, and then?
Well, I think that the two items in the staff or in the packet were one was a survey which could be administered digitally. We also have survey information from the recent North Star Place Branding Survey, so utilizing that.
Mm-hmm.
Another option that was presented in the packet was a community input meeting or a few roundtable discussions that I think could be really valuable as well.
How's the rest of council feel about a digital type survey to start the process and then move forward when we have a new administrator? Does that make sense?
But I also think that as a council, sorry, do you want me to press my button again?
No, it's all right.
Okay. I think that also as a council that we need to identify, because many of us have been sitting here for some time listening to the community and have a good pulse. And so I think that setting forth what our campaign promises were or what our, true heart's concerns are would be valuable as well. So not just a community component, but also this council.
I'm just talking about taking a little bit of time with the survey, put it out there for a month or two until we get administrator and then go from there.
Okay.
Councilman Smith?
Yeah, I was just going to double down on what Councilwoman Riggs was pointing out with the North Star. We've already done a survey, pretty robust, as far as the branding piece. And so that's another piece still yet to come in to kind of feed into. So we're able to really, sit and consider that and have that conversation.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I think we could certainly have some sort of, I know we have Facebook. I know that Jordan manages that. There's other ways that the community can certainly feed into and
Start the
provide
question.
input.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Councilman Goodson?
Yes, I think that's a great idea. Both of them are, we're in the 21st century, so we might as well utilize as many technological and social media and all types of outlets to get the information that we need. So, yeah, I'm in agreement with both of that.
Any other input? I think then what we should do with this item is table it until we start receiving the input, and then look at the city administrator. We could start the digital process, though, excuse me. We should start the digital process right away, and then use that process to help guide us on the next step to be taken.
I agree. I just wanted to say that I'd be happy to work with staff on reviewing the survey and working on that. I
Sounds like a
surveys
volunteer
a
for that
lot.
committee. Sounds like a great volunteer.
We
Thank you,
will
Councilman
work with
Riggs.
IT to get those put onto the city website and the city Facebook page.
All right. Councilman Riggs and myself will work on you as a subcommittee to take care of that, get it going. Thank you all. Riggs, are you wanting to back up on the podium?
No.
Okay. All right. Goal saying we are now moving into closed session. So pursuant to the Government Code Section 54-957B, the council will meet with personnel officer and city attorney related to the following positions: city administrator. And then we'll come back for an announcement. Thank you all for being here. We don't know how long we'll be in closed session. You're certainly welcome to stay if you like. But we'll have maybe an announcement after we come back. Again, thank you all for coming tonight.
Oh, like them bring their electronics and purses with them.
I think so.
I'd like to sit next to Scott.
No, we should be okay.
Oh, no, I'm you're ready.
I got a screenshot, I'll show you. To the staff room and deal with it. Oh. Public meeting.
that and give away. The wool is very hard.
I'll do some
But she wasn't sure, it just looked like poppy seed, but it's supposed to be sugar cookie.
poppy flour cookies.
Yes.
Hey, good night.
Good night, Deb.
Nancy probably went that way with them. I ate all those first, like those were gone. I was like, I have the brownie platter.
Would be out on the ocean for months at a time, and wives would be sitting home knitting. They know who it was, they would know who it was. Oh my God. It is cold. I went there was summertime. From the plane, you still see ice in that area. Lately I've been seeing some pictures. It's by the north. It's not ice. Weird. Well, in Argentina, the Antarctic, where it's the end of the world that way. Yeah, that is true. It precedes us and it's gonna go forever. Until civilization destroys it tomorrow. Because you can see what the Indians did and what we do now. It is huge. Climate change. We humans do a lot of damage. The world's a lot bigger than we are. Oh, completely. That is for sure. So many galaxies and things. Like your scarf. Oh, thank you. It's warm. It's very warm. It is actually warm. Not the harsh one. I can't have the harsh one. Yes, yes. I have three like this, a red, a white, and a black.
stayed.
No, we sent the,
My wife stayed.
Some stayed. Die Hard's here.
Plus, we rode together, so.
That's how you cut them off.
Uh-huh.
by the way, it's also customary for the new council members to report out of closed session.
Yep. I'm a little teapot. It's just, I'm a little teapot.
We are still broadcasting, just so you know.
Great.
However, ironically, when the light is off, the microphone is on. When the light is on, the microphone is off. So,
Okay.
Mayor.
Yes, we returned from closed door session and direction was given, no
Reportable action.
reportable action to be done. This meeting is now adjourned.
Mr. Mayor, you still have the council announcements, future agenda
Oh,
items.
sorry,
If
excuse
anybody
me.
has anything. If
All right.
not, then we can head out.
Well, let's quickly ask, any council announcements, reports? Seeing none, move to next item, future agenda items.
I think we've heard those already.
Yeah. And then administration reports.
I just have one thing to report, Mr. Mayor, is that the council has requested numerous times about the phone tree for the city. By the end of business of this week, it will be disabled, and during business hours, they will be talking to a live person when you call City Hall. After hours, the phone tree will be there to allow for messages.
I do have one thing, just,
Yes, go ahead.
so badges, just a matter of housekeeping. So we use keys currently. Is it possible the council can get access badges to the doors?
Yes, we can get everyone an access. It's an ID card is what it is with a chip in it. We'll get one for each council person.
Okay.
An RFID, I can put it in my hand.
Yeah, we can have it injected.
The other thing I'll mention for the new council members, and actually for all the council members, every 2 years, you're required to do the AB 1234 ethics training and AB 1875 harassment avoidance training. For new council members, you're required to do that within 6 months of being sworn in as of today. I'll work with Liz to get the insurance company that we have, the third-party administrator. They actually provide that in the chambers for free. I'll work with Liz to get something set up. Having said that, any questions you have, anything, I mean, I'm happy to give you just a little primer on it, as to where the problems sort of lie in the Brown Act and in the ethics laws and some of that. But because again, now that you're sworn in, actually technically, once you were elected, you're subject to it. And there are some, I know there was a comment tonight about social media. There are some pitfalls with social media that you need to be aware of. So I'll let you know what those are. But if you have any questions, let me know. And I'll get you my cell phone number, 24/7. Call me, and if I don't answer, I'll call you back. And as I always tell people, I don't mind talking in the evenings or on weekends, or at a soccer game or in Home Depot, as long as you don't mind that I'm talking at a soccer game or Home Depot or what have you. So that works. But that's it for me.
Okay. Thank you for the reports, administrative reports. It is now the time to adjourn the meeting. The meeting will be adjourned to the next regular meeting of Oroville City Council will be held January 17th, 2023 at 4 p.m. Unless we have some other news. That's it. Thank you all. We are